puro centro de Jaco, donde en cuestión de 3 horas llovió una cantidad bastante importante de lluvia. Eso provocó que las alcantarillas colapsaran y que se salieran los principales ríos que vienen al puro centro de esta comunidad.
Welcome to Jaco Live. In today's episode, we were out filming a guided rainy season walking tour, only to be caught in a violent and sudden tropical rainstorm that flooded much of Jaco, including many of the downtown and central areas. I was incredibly lucky to be able to get home safely. As you will see in the video, we passed by some areas only 5 or 10 minutes before flash flooding engulfed the entire neighborhood. As we pass through some of the neighborhoods, I'll show footage of what it looked like a few minutes later when the flash floods arrived. This video is being published to YouTube approximately 48 hours after the flooding, so there is still a very great need in the community for assistance. So I am including some information below and some links where you can donate through Jaco Impact, a community outreach organization that is spearheading a lot of the relief efforts in the community. There was a lot of damage or destruction to homes, and many people are in a difficult situation at the moment, so if you can assist, I highly encourage you to do so. The day started as a pretty typical rainy season walking tour video. I was trying to do a video that would show the heavier part of the rainy season. In October and November, it tends to rain a bit more often and a bit more heavily. So I thought I'd do a quick walk through while it was raining to show what it's like on a typical afternoon. What a coincidence it is that we started our trip here on Playa Jaco, which is an area that turned out to be one of the most heavily affected by the floods. This corner that we're going to come up to shortly was completely flooded. There were cars in the neighborhood that were flooded, and all the homes that we're passing here on the right all ended up having water come up to, if not into the house. And this is the corner, so take note of this. As you can see right now, you can see some little warning signs, but to be honest, I had no clue what was coming. It just looked like a puddle, and this happens quite frequently in the neighborhood. But yeah, so only in a matter of minutes we're going to come back here and we're going to see that the water's much higher, and then later on we're going to see that this area got extensively flooded and is full of mud now 2 days later. So we're coming up to the Monaco condominiums. On our right is Mega Super. And up until this point, really, the weather was kind of fine. I remember right around here is we had our first kind of gust of wind and first hint that the weather was about to turn, but it really didn't seem like anything of real concern. You can see there's quite a lot of people around, stores are open, stuff like this. And to our left is a shopping center parking lot, and you'll see later on that that had extensive flooding. So we are just passing Pura Vida Numero 3 on our left, one of the popular sodas here, cafeteria style eating, local food, and here we are at Avenida Pastor Diaz, Jaco's main street. We're still just on the north side of the bridge. This is still downtown, but it gets a little busier once you cross the bridge. On our left is a party store, and that ended up being completely flooded. But at this point, I know that everything looked very normal to me, a very typical day. Actually, I was enjoying my time and checking out even stores as we passed by. Here we got the local fruit stand. I love this place. Pineapple, pejibaye, mamonchino. What are those, figs out there? Good stuff. We've got a gym upstairs on my left and a secondhand clothing store, a thrift store on our left here. And as you can see, there's people about. It did not, at this point, appear to be an unusual day. It looked like a normal rainy day. There were some yellow alerts for the region, just warning about excessive rain possibility, which we'd had for several days. And up to now, we'd only had moderate rains, nothing to be overly concerned about. In the south of the country, they had much more heavy rains and already had some difficulties with flooding. Parts of the Central Valley as well, Desamparados, had some flooding, I know. And here we are coming up to the Rio Copé. And here you could see also some warning signs of what's to come, because the river is high for sure. And it's very turbulent, it's very dark. You can see it's moving pretty fast. There's debris in the water. So it didn't look, I've seen it worse, to be honest. So I didn't really think at this point still that there was anything particularly dangerous, but something just to watch out for, obviously. And you continue to see a lot of traffic in town. Not a lot of people walking around, but of course it's raining, so that's not unusual. But there were people around, going about their business, and stores were open. Passing Rio Oasis now. To be honest, up to now, I would tell you that this is a pretty typical rainy season day, especially October and November, where the rains are a little heavier in the afternoon. And I was wearing rubber boots and a rain poncho and had an umbrella, which isn't typical. I actually had that because I was filming more than anything, but I was still wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and yeah, it was quite comfortable temperatures. It wasn't particularly windy yet. Of course, not a lot going on a rainy afternoon like this. The rain itself, I recall, was somewhat cool. Halloween's coming up, so all the funny outfits have started showing up in the stores. It's like several stores with these kind of funny mannequin displays. Always entertaining. And here we are crossing Bohio Street. really interesting store with all sorts of clothes made out of alternative fabrics, eco-friendly products. And here we are at Celulares Alex. If you ever need any sort of gadgets, tech stuff for your cell phone, great place to go. Passing by Caliche's Wishbone now. It's somewhat funny to watch this now in hindsight because this is the calm before the storm and I'm just sort of wandering around looking at stores. Even though in minutes from now, literally minutes from now, we're going to be in the middle of a serious tropical storm. One of the most intense weather experiences of my life. Oh, and what did I tell you about the outfits? Halloween's coming. Wow, that's some serious thunder. Dolores shop. Really nice storefront. The rain is really starting to intensify a bit here after that last thunder. Alright, so now it's starting to rain a little bit more. I think you could hear it on that tin roof next to me. I actually had to stop there for a second to adjust the umbrella and get a good grip on it. Still quite a lot of traffic in town. Public house across the street. Yeah, and you can see the wind has started to pick up here now. And I know I'm starting to wonder how much further I'm going to continue. You know, I love you guys. I want to show you all the kind of experiences you can have in Jaco, but you know, there's limits. Got to be safe, and you know, nobody loves to be out in a terrible rainstorm. And this scene is dying for someone to make a joke in the comments. I'm not going to mention anything about it, but obviously you have the police in the middle of a tropical storm going to the donut store, but hey, you know, they gotta eat too. Wow, and now the wind has really picked up. You can just see it on the screen. I'm having trouble holding the umbrella. The rain's kind of coming in sideways, and there's all these people lined up at the bus just waiting to get in, and they're just dying, getting pelted outside of the bus shelter. But I think I'm over it. I'm gonna try to just get home at this point. Sorry, got to do some adjustments here. It's getting serious here. So we're definitely now in a tropical storm. So we're gonna try to cross the street and make it home. This is the point where I realized that I forgot to bring my cell phone and I didn't bring any money. So I'm gonna need to hightail it and get out, walk as quickly as possible and get home. Look at how quickly the sidewalks have flooded. This side of the street, the sidewalk's almost completely flooded already. It often pools here, the water, but this is definitely a very quick change. I think we're done shopping at the stores now. Take a look around. It's pretty wild out here right now. So I didn't intend to be out in anything like this kind of weather. So I'm actually pretty well prepared for it in terms of gear, but it's just not a good situation to be out. So. Fans of the show, shout out Pizza Pata. Burrito Bros. There's so much rain, it's like a mist all around you. It's crazy. One last look at the downtown core before we set our sights forward. We're gonna motor it. just see tons of water pouring out at every single pipe, every single drainage pipe, and every single gutter, and every sidewalk's flooded. It's an overwhelming amount of rain coming down right now. You can see there's still people out, oddly enough. I guess they're stuck like me and just had to get home. Coffee break is over. Jaco's finest back to work. And we're going to take a peek and see what is going on in the river actually now, compared to even just 5 minutes or whatever it was, 5-10 minutes ago when we crossed the bridge coming over here. Now we're on the other side of the bridge. Check this out. Whoa. Look at how fast that water is moving, and look at how high it is now. And I could see tons of trees and like whole trees, like coconut trees, palm trees and stuff like this, just floating down in large quantities. A lot of them, just all the trees that were on the border of the river being washed down here. There goes one. Okay, so I'm going to try something new here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll this footage of me walking by this section of the second-hand clothing store, the thrift store, and Pura Vida Número 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some other video as well. It's taken about an hour after this video is taken. Somewhere between 15 minutes to 1 hour after we're taking this video, showing the extent of the flooding that has happened. So here you can see we're on the actual sidewalk, but the water comes all the way up to the very top of that second-hand clothing store we just passed. And these stores that we're passing are flooded in a matter of minutes after recording this. And the same kind of thing, look at this building, this orange building on the right, and then I'm going to show you some foot taken very shortly after we passed. Look at how much the water rose and the amount of flooding. This is where we have the heaviest of the rains right now. It's an incredible amount of rain is coming down. So we're going behind the Pura Vida 3 soda, back on the street where we started, Calle Jaco Sol, and we're across from Mega Super and this parking lot to our right, which I know had a terrible flooding as a result of this incident, and the cars all there were flooded. To our left, the entire parking lot of Mega Super. It's just like a mud pool after all of this. I'll put in some footage of that as well, of them cleaning that up the day after. And I'm not sure where to pass because there's so much water here. And I'm trying to go on the sidewalk. but it looks like I'm going to run into just a brick wall of water up here. So I have to make a decision. Alright, it's time to test out the rubber boots. And you can see how deep the water is. There's cars driving through still. We're across from the Monte Carlo condominiums. And look at how much water is in this street now. Remember from the very beginning of this, where there's just a very little bit of water, and now it's a full raging, there's a current, there's almost like a standing wave there, you know, and look at how deep it is with the vehicles. And look at this car in front of us, straight ahead of us, and I'm going to show you what happened to that car in a few minutes after this video is filmed. It ends up exactly where this wave is here. We got to get out of here. This is dangerous territory, and I know that, like I say, we were very fortunate. I know that shortly after I filmed this, there was flash flooding. I managed to just get through this section and get home, but this will be about the end of the filming. There's about 8 inches of water here, so we're going to cut filming now. Thanks for joining us, and please consider donating to Jaco Impact.